Hey, I'm Jessica. I'm a nurse practitioner and I own OptimLife Health. And we've been doing a lot of blood work recently for hormone optimization. But what we've realized is it's not just sex hormones, like a lot of clinics out there that do testosterone, things like that. It's actually just whole body optimization. We check like a really thorough panel. It's not just your sex hormones, it's your all your normal stuff, of course, your CBC, your CMP, your lipids, all that, but it's like vitamins, minerals, inflammation markers like CRP, things like that. It's literally everything that you could think of that's reasonable, right? Because you have patients come into your clinic, they're tired. Well, there's so many reasons why they could be tired, so that's why we check everything, get a good baseline. So anyway, we thought that we would talk about Mandy, her labs, with you guys and just share, a little bit about what we do. So this is Mandy. She is my office manager and medical assistant. She's literally my right hand. Could not do any of this without her. So she had her labs done in February of this year. But prior to me drawing her labs, she actually had an appointment with her gynecologist. And she thought, well, before I get anything checked, I'll just ask them to check my labs while I'm here. So she asked her doctor to do a hormone panel, and very nice. He said, yeah, he could certainly get one, but he wouldn't be doing anything about it. And I was like, oh, okay. So we checked them. So I just kind of want you to tell everybody a little bit about your background, how you were feeling at the time, of these first labs, and we'll just kind of start there.
Okay. So when I went to him, I was having just some mild cramping, more so on the right side, which I knew something was going on, but I was also tired all day. It's like an ongoing thing. I'd wake up tired, go to bed tired in the middle of the day, like I felt like I needed a nap. And I was having just some unknown sweating that was just out of the blue, just sweating for no reason. And then I was also just getting freezing cold all the time. And that's why I thought, oh, maybe something's going on with my hormones. And I have endometriosis, so we had put an IUD in for that. And so maybe he was thinking it was something related with that. And he did an ultrasound, and we did find that I have some cysts, but he didn't really want to do anything about them for now, just keep an eye on them. But I also have a history of bronchiectasis, which is lung disease. I've had a couple lung surgeries. So I was thinking, well, maybe something's going on with that. Maybe it's causing some other issues. And so that's really why I wanted to I just didn't feel like myself. Sleeping pattern was off. Everything just felt not right with my body.
Okay. Now, we did these labs in February at the end.
Yeah.
But you actually, you also started GLP-1. When did you start that? I can't remember either. I can't remember if it was January or February.
Had to been. It was at the end of February.
Okay. So it wasn't before then?
I don't think so.
Okay, but I think you for the last long while, I think you've tried to prioritize protein. You've tried to eat healthier, all those things too. So we done initial labs. We done also in-body. I made a chart of her labs so it would be easy for us to see the things that we found. So for starters, your A1C was 5.7, which, is getting close to that pre-diabetic range. And you're thinking, okay, but, that's not the complete picture, as you've been seeing with all of our patients. Your fasted insulin was 4.9. That's not high. So, but we're thinking, okay, that's fine. Not a major concern. I think what scared you was that CRP. That's an inflammatory marker that if that's elevated, you're thinking, is there a concern for a risk, to develop a cardiovascular disease or issue later. Yeah, it was 8.07. Now you want that CRP under 3. Optimally, you want it under 1. So her sedimentation rate, which that is really non-specific, but that can show systemic inflammation. It was a 14. It's kind of like, maybe got something going on. But then you keep in mind, she's got the bronchiectasis, or I can't even say it right, but she has that at baseline. So you think, okay, what all is she, got going on? Homocysteine, that's another inflammatory marker. that if that's elevated, you're concerned for, is there a concern for cardiovascular disease at some point? It also relates to methylation with B vitamins. So hers was 9.7. So anywhere in like the 5 to 7 range. I mean, so 9.7 is not, that's still normal, but it's like, well, could you get it better? I mean, you could get it better. Talking about the B12, hers was 582, so that's not really, vitamin B12 at 582, it's not really like a problem. I mean, you may feel better at, over 600, 800, like, that way. So, not a problem there. Thyroid was, it was okay. Nothing crazy with that. We did a full panel on it. Nothing like that I needed to treat, but we did start orthothyroid supplement that just provides you like the vitamins and minerals that you need, like zinc, selenium, iodine, ashwagandha, copper, just all those things that support a healthy thyroid. Your vitamin D was okay. You were taking that. And I don't think people understand the importance of vitamin D in the body. I think a lot of times people think, well, it's wintertime, I need to protect my immune system, I'm going to take zinc, I'm going to take vitamin D or whatever. But I'm telling you, vitamin D is life. Vitamin D is so important for not only your immune function, but it's important for your hormone production, that being your thyroid, your sex hormones and all of that. So vitamin D, that is something, that you need to check, that you need to take. We don't just take D3, we take D3 with K2. The D3 makes the calcium more available in the bloodstream, and so the K2 helps put that calcium where it's needed in the bones and teeth, things like that. Anyway, enough about that. Iodine was a little low, so there's where the orthothyroid comes in because it has that. So the big thing was your total testosterone was a 9, and your free testosterone was 0.4. There ain't much of it to be active when there's not much of it. So there's that. Your estradiol was fine. Sex hormone binding globulin was okay. Your DHEA was on the low end. Progesterone is fine. Let's see. So, I mean, really, if you look at it, the precursor hormones, DHEA and the androstenedione, they were both low. Let's see. Cortisol a little low in for the time of day you had it. Your ferritin was not optimal. Not like low, but not good. It was like 46. It's like, okay. Definitely could be optimized because even low ferritin, which is your iron stores, over time can have an effect on your thyroid. So basically, you tell us, what all did we start?
What all did we start? We started the orthothyroid. Mm-hmm. We started NAC.
Why did we start NAC?
We started NAC to help detoxify.
Yeah.
And also with inflammation that could possibly be my airways from my bronchiectasis.
You said smart. That's right. So it helps the liver. In her case, it helps her airways. Okay. So we've got
the orthothyroid, the NAC, the curcumin.
Curcumin is good for inflammation. Fish oil.
Magnesium.
Take magnesium at night. It helps with sleep. It can help you with regular bowel movements. Can help with blood pressure.
My multivitamin, vitamin D3.
Multivitamin has methylated B vitamins in it, so she's doing good with that.
And let's see,
with a vitamin D3 K2.
Yeah.
I think that's good. So basically, even though her fasted insulin was not like really high but because her A1C was like trending up like that, we're like, we just want to be sure she doesn't have any, starts of insulin resistance and that kind of thing. So we started the berberine, or berberine, however you say that, to help with the blood sugar control, inflammation. You pair that with the fish oil, the curcumin. She basically, I told her, I'm like, fish oil for sure, but you could consider curcumin, but she wanted to aggressively attack that CRP. And so, she definitely did that with those. The testosterone, I mean, 9, that's like nothing. And to be honest, in the regular healthcare setting, I don't know why they don't want to give it. It's something that we naturally make as women, as men, men in greater amounts. As women, oh my gosh, we need far, far, far smaller amounts than what a man would need, of course. But we still make it. We still need it. it helps us with not only people think of libido, that sex drive or whatever, but it's not that. It's so much, it just even something minor with bone health, with like your mood, your energy level. It's a lot of things. Body composition. A lot of times women struggle with losing weight, and it's like, they'll say, well, my husband, he just cut out his soft drinks, or he stopped eating, fries with his burger, and he just don't drink any sweet tea anymore or whatever, and he lost weight. And it's because that man at baseline, typically, they have more muscle mass than we do. They make more testosterone. So the testosterone is still important for us in just smaller amounts. It can help us with our body composition and our body optimization. So in my mind, you've got something natural that you make, like testosterone, progesterone, estradiol, these things. You can replace that naturally with, micronized progesterone or testosterone itself. It's, bioidentical, whatever. Mandy didn't need, the estradiol. She didn't need progesterone, but she needed testosterone. So how did you feel after you started that?
I feel amazing. Now I do.
That's good.
I think with everything combined over the past 8 weeks, it may be a little over 8 weeks, but I feel completely different.
That's wonderful. So you're sleeping good?
Sleeping good.
Now let's talk about the weight loss, though.
Woo!
Because the weight loss, like she told me she wanted to lose weight, but it wasn't like the biggest thing for you. It was like not the biggest focus. Yes, we were concerned, like, we don't want diabetes. Yeah, you wanted to feel better again because you used to be,
But I felt so slow reactive.
But yeah. So it was like, well, maybe I am carrying a little bit more weight. So we did start her on a GLP-1. And I think that there's been, studies that show that it helps with inflammation. I think paired with how you were attacking your inflammation, I think that helped, but it helped enough just keep you from having that food noise.
Yes.
So let's talk about your in-body then. Yeah. Well, first let's talk about, I skipped ahead. Let's talk about how your CRP changed. We'll get back to that. I skipped this. Okay, so first of all, she started this bourbon, right? Her A1C went from 5.7 to 5. Her insulin level went from 4.9 to less than 2. So it's like not really detected much there, right? So she's attacked like any insulin resistance that was starting to happen. Okay, with not only with the bourbon, but with the fish oil, the curcumin, the NAC, her CRP was 8.07 and now it's 0.5. Her ESR, which has that sedimentation rate, it went from 14 to 1. And the homocysteine went from 9.7 to 7.9. And that's she's only getting methylated B vitamins in the multivitamins. She's not even taking like a standalone vitamin B complex. The testosterone, okay, so what did we do? We did 5 milligrams, super, super, super tiny, subcutaneous injection once a week. Now, once a week injection, I feel like there's a hair on my lip. Yep. Once a week injection is pretty much the standard for a man. Some men split their dose into 2 times. Our dose is so tiny that we cannot split that really feasibly into 2. So once a week keeps the levels very nice and stable. She came back at 71, but she feels good with that. I've seen other women, not in necessarily the ones that I'm treating. I've seen ones that have come to me from other places come in with levels over 100, whatever. That's fine. And maybe they're not feeling, their best or whatever. It really kind of depends on, you don't treat the number, you're treating the patient, the symptoms. So her testosterone total is 71. Her free testosterone improved some. Her sex hormone binding globulin did jump, but she's not symptomatic. So I'm not aggressively going to just attack a number that's not causing her any problems. Let's see. Check a DHT, which is important. A lot of places don't check that. It's an expensive marker. It's not the standard of care, but a DHT is important because when you're putting testosterone in the body, it's going to either aromatize the estrogen or it's going to convert to DHT via the 5-alpha reductase enzyme. And why that is important is you have that enzyme in your body and it's more prevalent in the skin. So if you have a lady on cream, which creams are fine, creams are great, especially if they're not messy and it's clickable and that's the way they like, you check that DHT because you want to know what that baseline is. How are their symptoms? Are they losing any hair at baseline? This and that and third. Because the 5-alpha reductase enzyme is so much more prevalent in that skin. If you rub cream on, it's having to go through each layer of skin. And as it's doing that, that can increase its chances of converting more heavily to DHT. Why would that be a problem? Well, if it did convert more heavily to DHT, it could cause like thinning hair, it could cause oily skin, acne, those kind of things. She didn't have any of that at baseline. We didn't start a cream. She said, the cream, I gave her the option. You want to do cream or do you want to do injection? She's like, I think a once a week injection would be fine. It's a tiny little insulin needle, tiny little amount, same day each week. She's had no symptoms as far as no acne, no oily skin, no hair growth on her face. Yeah, no hair growth on her face. And I think that's a big deal. And that's a big deal. So, so her DHT is like, you know what? Did we have to check it? No, but we thought, let's check it. It's fine. There again, that number doesn't have to be off the charts. It's about the symptoms, right? But it's good to have a baseline and it's good to check that for those who are on cream. Vitamin D improved. I don't even know did you switch the brand or no, just okay. And to be fair, too, we checked with LabCorp the first time. This time we used our company AccuReference, but
yes.
The improvement on everything has been unreal.
I honestly didn't think at first. I was kind of like, maybe this will work, maybe it ain't. Yeah. But I have been diligent, like my supplements, my diet, my testosterone, like everything, making sure I get it in.
Yes, I guess we can go back now to that. So we've talked about how all of these major improvements in her A1C, her fasting insulin, her inflammation, her testosterone level is nice and healthy. Her vitamin levels are optimized, right? So she's attacked all these things. So at the same time, she's addressing, how I'm just trying to optimize my body, the body composition. So in January, we share the number?
That's fine.
You okay?
I don't care.
Okay, in January, she weighed 162.5. She had 52 pounds of skeletal muscle based on like the InBody. We have an InBody and we have a 3D scanner, and her percent body fat was 42%. So she didn't want to stay there. Scanned again a month later in February. She'd lost down to 155.7. So what? Like almost 7 pounds. Muscle mass hanging out literally right about the same, 51.8. That's 0.2. That's 0.2. Body fat, coming down 39.8. But then a month later, 152. A month later, 148.8. Like she's steady going down. And here we are. She scanned on May the 9th and it was 130.3. She's lost 32 pounds since January the 6th. Her skeletal muscle went down from 52 to 46.7. Now, we don't like the skeletal muscle to go down. She has, she's a single mom. She's busy. She's got 3 kids. She tries to prioritize that protein, but let's be honest, sometimes it's not perfect. It's not perfect. So I'm not going to split hairs over, 5 or so pounds of skeletal muscle in the grand scheme of her losing 32 pounds, which got her percent body fat down from 42 to 34.1, which is much metabolically healthy.
Yeah.
Right? So while I think people they underestimate the importance of vitamins and minerals at that baseline. I think of vitamins and minerals like your foundation of your house.
Right.
So you got to have that foundation right before you can start building or making stuff. Yeah. So you start with the simple things like, is my vitamin D low? I should probably take that anyway. Magnesium, you take that. Your ferritin was a little low, so you took iron. You want to make sure your vitamin B12 is optimized. You want to make sure your thyroid is optimized. So you take these things at baseline, And then it's like you're able to then say, okay, now that I'm treating the foundation with these vitamins and mineral deficiencies, my diet, right? I got the GLP-1 in the back end helping me, but now I can say, now, okay, I'm going to attack this testosterone. I'm going to do all these other little things to optimize myself. And that's what you've done.
And it's amazing. From where I started, I look back at pictures from January and I see myself now and I'm like, gross.
No, not gross. You're beautiful. You're beautiful then.
But I had so much stress on in my life too then.
Right.
And then I was finally at a point where I could help myself.
Right.
So
I think for you, it wasn't about necessarily the weight loss. It wasn't about number. I think for you, it was about, I used to work out and be really, really healthy. And, I've had my life turned upside down with these lung diseases and major lung surgeries. It's amazing that you're in the position you are now. It's like, I'm still young. I don't want to feel tired all the time. So it was just about making you feel better. And it feels good to see.
It does.
You like this. And now we've been seeing patients coming in.
Yes. And I love that I can share my story with each patient that walks through that door.
Exactly. So it's been a blessing for us. And now we can help others. And it's funny because we opened up, we didn't want to be labeled med spa. We that's not our deal. We wanted to be more medical. And, we've been seeing patients for a while before we had even opened officially, trying to get our feet wet. And I think we didn't really know what we were going to be getting into.
And we're learning.
What people were going to be wanting.
Yeah.
And it's funny that everybody wants, we've called it hormone optimization, but I honestly almost wonder if we should call it something else, because I don't want it to give the wrong impression that it's just like a TRT clinic, because it's clearly not. I mean, Bradley for sure goes to a TRT clinic. It's not to knock them.
No.
I don't ever want to knock another practice ever, because I don't want people talking about me. I'm just trying to help people, and I know they are too. Here's what I'll say. It's no knock on them. I'm just saying that when my husband has been on TRT for the last few years and he's never had a ferritin checked and an iron panel, that's a thing. So I know they're checking that CBC, they're checking that hemoglobin, hematocrit, but they're not checking the thyroid hormones, those baseline, minerals, vitamins, like all the things.
Like it's literally, we've seen it continuously for every patient. So what OTCD
all the time. Low iron.
Not in everybody, but the majority of low.
We see,
or they really don't even know because they have never had it checked.
True.
And then we check it.
Vitamin D. Low. Vitamin D low over time can hurt your thyroid really bad, can impact your hormones. We see a lot of insulin resistance.
Yeah.
We see a lot of high CRPs. That's that inflammatory marker. So we see a lot. And honestly, that's what we've been doing. We have so many people come to us. They're like,
they just want to feel better.
They're like, we want to feel better. And nobody to check my labs. They're checking the basic stuff. I have some patients who literally come in. They've had a CBC, a CMP, a lipid.
Yeah.
And maybe an A1C. I've seen a couple that didn't even have A1C.
Yeah, a couple of them have vitamin D.
Couple of them had vitamin D.
Which was surprising.
Yep. I noticed that the ones who've been getting labs online are more in line with what we're doing. But there again, you're getting it online. You're not getting that face to face. So I just want it to be known. We are not perfect, but we try to do everything we can to get to the root cause of your issues, right? And we treat it with simple things to address the root cause and not slap Band-Aids on it. And, if I can't find the answer, if I don't know it readily, I find the answer. And we start with that. And so we haven't been, we do aesthetics. Yeah. Do a lot to Mandy, but, we do aesthetics. We have some aesthetic patients. We have weight loss patients. We have some direct primary care patients, but for the most part, it's been just that full body optimization, just getting that blood work, finding out what's going on. I have people that don't really have problems, but they're like, I want to get my blood work.
I want to tell you all this.
Just to make sure what is going on that maybe I don't know about. And so, there's literally been one person, one person that he didn't have a spot of red.
He didn't have a spot
on his labs.
I was jealous.
And so, but we still optimized him because of where his like low normal things were. So anyway, that's basically what we've been doing, and we like it. And I think we've been busy, we've been blessed, and I'm hoping that we continue in the same path, and we won't stay stagnant. We'll continue to learn, and I would promise you this: if you're my patient, I continue to research, and I don't stay, stagnant. And this is what I'm doing, and that's the way. Hey, I'll be glad to be wrong if my patient gets the benefit of it, right? I want my patients to have the best, and so I will always research and do what's best for them. So we just wanted to share with you a little bit about what we do with the blood work at OptimLife, and like a real person example of how somebody's labs can truly improve over just the course of from February to May. From the labs, improve over that amount of time with the right supplementation and all of that. And it's possible to really feel your best with simple things. It's not rocket science, and it doesn't take magic wands. But anyway, we appreciate if you paid attention and listened to us ramble on, and hope to see you in our clinic.
Thank you.